So, Jake,
Ben.
I got a call this morning from my 6-year-old nephew.
Oh, yeah. Does he have his own phone? Or?
Oh, is he 7? I think he's 6.
Okay. When's
Hopefully
his
my
birthday?
sister's not listening to this because she would be...
Well, she'd be joining a long list of people who don't.
She'd be... no, he doesn't have his own phone. It was her who called me, but he was the one. He had a question for me, and it was a great question. It stumped me. He said, if Melbourne and West Coast draw this weekend, what happens then? And I actually had no idea. Like, I believe it was time. I think they do time on, but I didn't know. It was 7 a.m. for starters. So what are you doing calling me at this hour?
You just imagine by that time he would have asked your sister like 15,000 questions about life.
Yeah.
And then you know what? We'll call Ben. Ask Ben.
Then what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then because I had no idea, so I jokingly told him that he should call Ross and John on the old 3AW. I said, ask them. And I said, yes. I said, he said, who's Ross and John, of course. And I said, well, ask your mum. So he did. And then, anyway, 20 minutes later, I'm tuning into the radio. Get a call from a little Mason. G'day, Mason. How are you? Good. Just want to know if there's a draw in the Melbourne West Coast game this weekend, what happens?
You kidding?
Nah, straight up. He took my advice and called him.
Good. Welcome, Magoo's viewers, to our preliminary final episode.
Jake,
Ben?
2 weeks left.
Yeah, yep. And then I won't be coming to Preston for a little bit.
I might have to venture out your way
Travel's
again. We're back at the
almost over,
original
although
studio.
we were out my way last week, weren't we? So I can't complain too much, can I?
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
can, just no one will listen.
But things are heating up, aren't they?
Preliminary final, we've got a little bit of new merch here.
Yeah, a little bit. We've got a
Maxi
D-scarf, Collingwood
Collingwood
hats, which I thought I'd put on your side just because.
Just because I don't think they'll win.
Yeah, well, that makes 2 of us.
Well, there you
And
go.
we've actually got a Maxi Gone
A little badge, yeah.
little badgerino.
So you pegged mine back in the tipping last week, you and me, didn't
Picked
you?
one back, yeah. So what is it, 4-3? 4-3, yeah. So you're 4 from 5,
That's not right, 4 from 6.
4 from 6, and I'm
3 from 6.
not doing great.
Well, 50%.
Yeah, depending who we go for this week. But
P's get degrees, Ben.
that is absolutely
50%
correct.
is a pass.
Yeah. Sure is at La Trobe University where I went and got P's.
And it absolutely is a Deakin University where I went and got P's.
Coincidence that we're both here sitting on the couch doing our own production? Probably not.
No. But so if we cast our minds back, we had Melbourne beating Hawthorn last Friday night.
Yep.
It was a good game. Melbourne were impressive again. Hawthorn had their chances.
What does it have to take from Melbourne for you to become a believer?
They won't win this week.
They will.
No, they won't.
Well, that's when I'm going to peg mine back then because we're going to go in 5-all, I reckon.
Into the big dance,
Into the big dance. Yeah, I think we might. Either that or you winning by 2.
And then I'll just celebrate all grand final
Yeah.
day. Look, the D's have been good. I rate West Coast pretty highly though. So
West Coast are
I
a
just think this is
fantastic
like Melbourne are now into the territory of overachieving this year for mine.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Well, I mean that's what finals can do.
Well, the
'Cause
last
it's
2 years have sort of been overachievers.
Yeah, for
Mind
sure.
you, Richmond did finish 3rd, which
Yeah.
I actually spoke to a Richmond supporter during the week who
how'd
were
that
like,
go?
not great.
Yeah,
not
disappointing.
great. It
Not a
was.
good time of year, but not that there really is a
Yeah.
good time of year.
But we were talking about the 2016 Dogs and how good that was, and then of course he was like, and then there was the 2017 Richmond, blah blah blah, sort of similar-esque. I was like, let's get one thing straight. They're not similar.
No,
You finished 3rd.
in the top 4.
You finished in the top 4. That's not similar.
Yeah, it's not coming from the clouds. Like,
Yeah.
You played.
you
You
get
won
the-
like the last 10 games or something.
And guess what? You're getting the same Collingwood people this time around, thinking that it's their time to.
So
shine.
sick of other people having nice things.
No, because I'm around
No,
the
I
D's.
am. No, that's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
you
I
are?
am. Yeah,
You are, yeah.
I had everyone. No, I'm not around any of them.
Yeah, I know. That's.
I was praying for GWS. Praying.
I was too. They nearly got him.
They didn't play well either, GWS, so they nearly got
No, well, that's the other thing. So Collingwood going into it, they're pretty confident that they can beat the Tigers, which it might be an okay game. However, they lost to West Coast and just beat GWS. I don't think they're playing the best brand of footy right now. They did, however, miss a few chances on the weekend. They should have been probably 6 goals up.
Yeah, they should have been. They should have
But-
really destroyed. But they didn't, so that's what we have to take away from it. But and then, so
So straight
gonna
off the
be
bat,
interesting.
I'm going to
It's
ask you,
gonna be-
can the Pies beat Richmond tonight when this goes to air? Thinking ahead.
no, No, they can't beat them.
Do you think it'll be tight?
I think Richmond will do what Richmond do. They'll might be 14 points at 3/4 time, and they'll be going, "Oh, Bucks will get them moved up for one last go." And
Yeah,
that's what that noise was.
yeah. And then Richmond just do Richmond things.
Richmond going to win by 41 points, and 2 games in 27 days it'll be for Richmond.
Yeah. How many in for West Coast? Similar-esque, probably 26.
Ask me questions.
I'm not trying to stump you.
It sounds like it.
I don't think
know.
they can either. I think it's going to take probably 5 goals from Degoe, which
even then, I don't think Collingwood will be able to score enough to beat Richmond. What did they score? 69 last week and then 70 odd maybe the week before. I think it was against West Coast. They're not going to be able to score enough to beat Richmond.
Yeah,
even if they restrict Richmond is still going to score too much. I think for Collingwood.
It's a very good analysis, Jake.
Thanks. Yeah, I've been up all night.
Yeah, that Richmond defence is going to come through, I think.
And Richmond, and I mean, again, there's no shame Collingwood have now overachieved. But that's the thing with these finals is that, for mine, Collingwood and Melbourne can both go into them and say, while of course they want to win and every player's goal is to win a flag and all that sort of stuff, I think that they can both go into this and just be like, cards on the table, let's just go and have a real crack at them because if we lose, no one's going to...
Weren't expected
But then if Richmond or West Coast lose, all of a sudden that's people are expecting a Richmond West Coast grand final. Top 2, weeks off, roll through, good sides.
Melbourne, but...
Yeah, well, this is why I'm in front of the tipping.
Well, we're going to be a draw going to the granny.
Unlikely.
So what about the bloke waiting outside of the MCG? He's been there for a couple of days now, I think.
Yeah.
He's still probably there now. Well, that makes sense because this is getting released as the game's probably getting played. So you'd hope he doesn't leave.
It's a drastic measure is what it is.
It is. I think it's almost like the equivalent sort of how like your John O'Brien and stuff were considered courageous, but borderline stupidity.
Yeah,
because
like,
this guy...
when's he going to stop doing
this
that?
Guy's
He's going to really hurt himself.
Yeah,
this guy's going to get
exactly. This guy's showing to the naked eye, he's a passionate supporter. If you're that passionate, go down the internet cafe with a good internet speed and buy your tickets online before everyone else.
What are it's MCC, so he's lining up to get in and get good seats. But what do you think the odds are is that he's like a 2-year member or something?
Well, that's the other thing, yeah.
Classic. Did you know, right, we'll just go back to West Coast and Melbourne. You're tipping Melbourne.
I am. Well, we're going to do our actual tips officially.
Yeah, we will get to that. But I'm heavily with West Coast and believe they can beat Richmond the week after. But when Kennedy and Darling have played in the same team this year, West Coast have not lost.
I have heard that.
No, you just heard it then.
I've heard it twice.
Who told you the other time? Was it me in the production meeting?
I read it on the aval.com.au, actually.
Yeah, well, that's another source because I heard it on the radio today.
Well, one of them got it off one of them.
I heard something funny, actually.
That is pretty damning, though.
I also heard a good... we might have to use this in our social media plugging of this show. Malcolm Blight said this morning the preliminary finals like dancing with your sister. You're where you want to be, but you're not quite there yet. So you're on the big enough stage, but everything's just not quite right. You just need another step further.
It's not bad from Blighty.
Yeah, Blighty is a clever man, I assume.
Yeah, I assume.
Never met him.
Yeah.
Can kick a torp though.
That is true.
So
So Friday night, first prelim. Any changes to the teams?
No.
No. Oh, I wasn't trying to test you. I thought you were all over that. No, there's not. There is no changes.
No changes.
However,
Saturday,
young Bailey Fritsch has been dropped.
Yeah.
He's been dropped. He's played every game bar one this year. Big call.
Huge call for
messing with
for former Hawthorn legend Joel Smith's come in.
Yeah. Well, they do need probably that defender.
It's not former Hawthorn legend Joel Smith.
But what you were saying earlier about Darling and Kennedy.
Kennedy,
probably do need that defence tightened up.
Yes, the bigger option down there, but it's interesting. You don't really want to mess too much with it, do you?
No, you don't. I actually made a bet with a bloke from work today. He reckons that if Melbourne make the granny, that they're going to call Bernie Vince up, and I said you're an idiot unless there's an injury in a similar position.
Yeah, I think it might be too far gone. Yeah, he'd just be messing with too much, wouldn't he? Especially if they go over there and beat West Coast, they're going to be flying high. I wouldn't be.
Yeah, so we shook on it. So I'm hoping that one gets up.
On it. What'd you bet?
$100.
Oh wow!
I was pretty confident about it.
Yeah,
and the clause was if there's no injury. So that's This guy, yeah. Anyway.
There was a clause. Did you get legal to write it up?
There was a clause. So Will Schofield comes in for Schofield. Sco comes in for Brad Shepherd,
Of course, yeah.
who is injured
We
with
Sco.
a hamstring.
It's a loss for the Eagles. It's a big loss.
It is a huge loss.
Bigger than a lot of people
I agree.
will identify, I think.
I know Mark
because-
Robinson on 360 spoke probably 5 minutes too long about how big of a deal it was.
Okay.
But I
well,
think
then I won't go over it.
good,
then,
because
because
I think
know
it
that we
tends
share
to
the
go
same viewership.
round about, and then just back to
And
whatever
back to
the
the
original
point, yeah.
call was.
And you, most of the time, he's yelling.
Yeah, and just throwing up his hands.
Yeah.
If he had to hold one of these microphones, he'd just be no good. Because Jared, you can't do that. I had a mate of mine called me up the other week. He said, "Is anyone thinking of the kids?"
He's a good Warrandyte guy.
He is. Lives near a friend of mine, actually.
Seen him at
Good friend of the
7-Eleven a
show
few
too,
times.
Luke.
Lukey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good on you, Luke. Ben, I've got a little bit of a discussion that we can have. What I've seen the last few days, right? So, Tom Lynch choosing, most likely, to choose Richmond as his club is seen as free agency not working, the strong get stronger, rah, rah. And then Mitch McGovern believes and has been rumoured to Carlton, the Gold Coast, St Kilda, those sort of teams, right? And that's who apparently Adelaide's dealing with. They've spoken to the Gold Coast and stuff. And he said that he's left Adelaide because he doesn't believe the vision. But then he's been criticised of saying, well, is the vision at these clubs any better? So why would you waste your time going there? And then people are talking about Dylan Shiel as well, who I believe did not request a trade in his exit interview with GWS, Dylan Shiel.
Interesting.
Doesn't mean it can't happen in
No,
there.
that's interesting though. Yeah.
But
So
and
what
then,
you're saying Carlton have
and
a
then
good
they're saying
vision.
that, like, so certain members of the media, I guess, will say, oh, it's not fair Lynch is going there. He's just going a little bit of the Kevin Durant sort of setup. But then when a player chooses to go to a bottom club, yes, what would he know? He's at a better club than that now. If he's not buying into that vision, how's he meant to buy into this vision? It's all about money, this, that, the other. So where do you want him to go?
You can't win.
Just get everyone just go play for North Melbourne, who will finish 9th and 10th forever. And
Yeah, and plus they said that a couple of years back when Hawthorn kept poaching all those stars, and they won their three-peat.
and they got what they needed. They
Got what they needed.
They brought their core together and then just plucked them.
Yeah. I mean, they did make a semi this year too, which they're probably overachieved for this season.
Yep.
But, they're not in the granny this year. They weren't in it last year.
No.
So it's not a guarantee for success.
No, it's certainly not. Certainly not. It's just interesting that people just choose whatever narrative they want, whatever suits them at the time. And I mean, we're well aware of that, but it's
it's like me with Kane Corners of the Week. Yeah.
It was
You'll bring up
Kane that
new
said
information and I'll say, well, shut up.
something. Hey, Ben.
Yes, Jake.
You've already said hello. We're halfway through the show. But just another little anecdote. We finally both bought 2 pieces of content to the show.
See what happens when we get together?
Saw a couple of AFL players recently down my Richmond travels.
You've been seeing a lot down there.
Tom Lynch
Oh,
in Richmond.
Oh,
Magoo's exclusive.
wow.
A few deep, old Tommy, when I saw him.
Mind, a few deep in Richmond. Mind you, Richmond's very close to Collingwood and they're far from Carlton.
He's not going to
It's
Carlton.
definitely not going to Essendon, we can say that. That's nowhere near that vicinity.
But then later in the week, I saw Bob Murphy strolling out of a bookstore, and I'm jumping to conclusions that he was checking on the stock levels of his own book. That's what I'm thinking. Because he didn't walk out with a purchase. I reckon he was in there just making sure his was pride of place, maybe.
Either that.
Yeah. Or
Either that or he picks up his own book, just
Yeah.
sort of looks at it for a bit, just sees if anyone's watching.
and then maybe says to some delightful old lady, "I should give this one a read." And then she looks at it and looks back at him and looks at it.
You white men all look the same these days.
Yeah.
Lady,
You're
that
Nick
is me.
Rewald. Benny,
Yes.
we're back. Got a few things on the socials to get through. You've got a couple of big announcements. And
Yes.
but my first, not gripe, but thing is with the Brownlow.
Well, what are you complaining about now?
I'm not
Are the girls too
complaining
showy?
about
What is it, Jake?
Hang on a minute, who do you think you're talking to?
I don't know.
Um,
That's what I don't know.
I don't know.
I just don't know who you are anymore.
We put a I put a social media poll out on the Twitter. Went through the young fella who does the social media.
We should get him on next week, by the way, for our grand final show.
I don't know if he's ready for on air.
He's a bit of a dweeb, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'll say it.
Yeah,
Dweeb.
it's probably fair. As well as my question was to the Magoo's community: do you think the Brownlow is the most prestigious award in AFL football? Because I do not anymore.
I partook in that vote too, and I also said no.
Great. You know what the split was?
No, well, it was
50-50.
Was it?
Yeah.
By the way, that one we had last week about the Toby Green, that ended up being 50-50 too when it closed.
We have a divided Magoo's community.
I don't mind
community divided against itself.
We also disagree a lot.
We do. We try to anyway.
You know, I try and represent the nuffy side, and you represent the analytical sort of well thought out. And I don't know where I'm going with this planned.
We'll keep going. So that was interesting in itself.
50-50.
It's not. I just can't see the umpires voting on something being the most prestigious award. There's a whole list of things I'd rather win. I'd rather win anything voted by my peers, which includes obviously the Lee Matthews Trophy, the MVP.
Yes, absolutely.
I'd rather be voted best by the people I play with or the people I play for in terms of the coaches.
Yep.
I would rather win a media award than the Brownlow.
What sort of media award?
Well, Herald Sun Player of the Year.
Okay. So you're still in the playing ranks. I thought you meant just like you'd like to win Journalist of the Year.
Just in case the Magoos get nominated for something.
Round 1, 2019 Cankles of the Week for you.
I would say that, and I know that the Brownlow medal's got a long, prestigious history, and absolutely, and it's still a really great honour or whatever, but I'm not sure the umpires are the right people to be voting on it.
No, I reckon Razor would probably give himself a vote if he could.
They're just like, they struggle to get so, and the voting usually goes okay. And it'll be interesting to see what happens this Monday night. But there's just too much of patterns to it, and and I just don't trust that that's the best method to, if that is the highest accolade, which it is. I think the Brownlow, because when they retire, they was you don't say 2 MVPs. Do you? That's not like the headline.
Yeah,
it's always premierships, Brownlows. That's the.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure that the umpires are the way to go with the voting.
I couldn't agree more. I absolutely.
And I think that it's taking away from the award. But it's always a big night. We'll be there on the red carpet, I assume.
We'll be on a red carpet.
Yeah. We could do a Brownlow special. Well, there's a red yoga mat just there.
The red yoga mat special.
I think we could con some people to come in here. I
was actually going to suggest, I reckon, if we don't get a guest on, which we might still.
Next Monday?
We're going to play all our. No, I mean just for the grand final, our sort of last one of the season. Mm-hmm. We could potentially give away a couple gifts. By gifts, I mean you'll have to drive to Preston as a viewer, and we'll get them to ask whatever question that they've had on their mind this season for us or in the footy world. And
we don't get any questions when we ask on social media.
Well, that's why we get them in here, and we'll have to tie them down if we have to.
We're going to feed them?
Probably not. I'm not going to feed them.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Hey, Marcus. Hey. How are you? You can go through.
All right, cool. I've never seen that guy before in my life.
No, I know. Neither have I until today. Yeah. His name's also the same as the guy.
I was going to say, because when you said Marcus.
Yeah. Weird. I'm not sure if they're spelled the same.
No,
Brownlow. No good.
We could go live.
We looked a bit like an umpire, actually.
Get him in here. Bash him up.
Yeah, we should.
No, don't bash umpires.
No, don't.
Could we do a bit of a Brownlow special? Who do you think's going to win the Brownlow?
I'm going to say this fella.
Maxi.
I'm going to say Maxi's going to buck the trend with this trend that you're talking about. So this prediction that it's a midfielder's award. Technically, Ruck is in that midfield, but I'd love to see Maxi win it into the D's premiership. You've heard it here.
I think Maxi might be on his Mad Monday. Something tells me.
Nah.
Great.
Well, he'd still have to go, wouldn't he? That would probably even be better if he's a bit seedy. He rocks up to the red carpet.
Well, there's a great story of Jason Ackermanis one year. They were on Mad Monday when he was at the Bulldogs, and he didn't make it to the Brownlow. His missus was all dressed up, ready to go, and he just didn't show up to pick her up.
Oh, but did she still go?
No, I don't think she could without him. Yeah.
Still misses?
Yep.
Oh, she's a better woman than
you. Is that what you're going to say?
Yes.
Well, I would have left his sorry ass.
Yeah, we won't get into that, but that's pretty shit house from Jason.
Acker. Would we expect much more, do you think?
Yeah, my mind's telling me Mitchell, but... And while we're on, you're talking about the Brownlows, the best and the fairest. Your players, I mean, like Gaff obviously got 8 weeks, but...
5.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Oh, 5.
I was continuing on
5.
from what you were saying. Yeah.
It's so much easier in today's game to get a week and therefore be ineligible than it has ever been in the past. So I almost think that needs to be updated.
I think it's easy to get fined. I'm not sure it's easy. I think it's harder to get a week, isn't it?
Yeah, but those fines, if you're a repeat offender. But I just reckon that should be changed with it, I think, because
I tend to agree. There
or
has to be
change it to the MVP.
doesn't it?
You take a certain player out of that team, what impact would that make?
Agreed.
Yeah, nice.
There you go.
Thank
You want to get to your Cane Corns team of the week, team of the year?
Well, team of the year, but I'm only going to name the back 6.
The back 6, and I'm sure they're all here. They're just waiting out the back there. Boys, you can come in if you want. He's doing it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're coming.
Marcus probably thinks he's talking about them. So they're going to come in a minute.
You're
going to ruin this bloody segment.
Yeah.
Speaking of it, though, I've only written down the back 6.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a slow reveal.
Well, I haven't,
No, I've only got one more show to go. Well, we could do 2. We could do a post-grand final. We could get a premiership player in here on the Wednesday.
Probably the Wednesday following after that, if they win it.
Maybe a Wednesday in 2022.
That'll be stewy. What I was going to say is I've just written the players' names down in the back 6. So I haven't organised anything around it. I don't know if you want to chip in and think, why does she go there? Or
I'll just react.
Okay,
keep it all
so
natural.
the fullbacks, we've got Johnny Fig Jam Ralph. If you don't know what that stands for, you can look it up.
Yep, ask your parents.
Yeah.
Little Mason.
The fullback.
Call Ross and John and ask them.
Oh, wait, you heard of the anchovies one? You've heard that one, haven't you?
Yeah, and they said you're a disgrace. Don't ever call this program again.
I can't use that word, unfortunately, but that is one of the funniest segments. Look that up too. I think it's on 12 something or other. But yeah, Danny Spud Frawley from fullback.
Yep, of course.
Then Julian De Stoop in the other pocket.
You reckon he's a back pocketer?
I don't know. I went over the things. He looked more like a back pocketer than anyone else I could see in that list. Is that good enough?
Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Both halfback flanks, left and right. Are the McLaughlin brothers, the Don?
I thought you said left and right, and I was like,
well,
Corey,
you usually go bang, middle bang.
No, but I thought you said Enright, as in Corey Enright, and I was like, I don't remember him getting it. He seems like a good guy.
Corey Enright would never get this award. He is a good guy, I would assume.
Yeah.
So, Gillen and Hamish, the Don and the brother of the Don on the flanks. And then in the halfback, we've actually got the duel in DeMarcus Cousins and Adam Silver. They both won it in the same week.
So you're playing a loose man in the back line,
Well, I'm thinking that Adam Silver has to be on his shoulders,
Okay.
because that's the one player, technically. They're the guys from the NBA who I think have sort of botched next season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing, I think, like an Aaliyah type role, just floating. Just picking off something. I don't know.
Picking off the loose balls, Adam Silver and DeMarcus Cousins. Centre half back in the AFL side.
What are your thoughts on that, Jake?
Interesting. Can't wait for the rest of the side.
Me too. Hopefully we prepare something.
You get like some jackets or something. Give them all a little bit of corn.
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe if by next week corns haven't been contaminated too, we can...
Well, yeah, if you stop putting needles in fruit.
Yeah, well, I told you not to tell anyone about that. But we'll go for vegetables now.
Okay, Benny.
Make the switch.
I think Tom Mitchell's going to win the Brownlow, just for the record, but I hope Patrick Cripps does.
Do you think Patrick Cripps can?
I think he'll go close.
What's
enough.
he paying?
Lots? Not
is he
lots.
under 10s?
He'd be mid-15s probably.
Okay. That's not a bad...
Yeah, I don't think you can win it. The team only wins 2 games. It's usually pretty telling. You don't get too close to the Brownlow.
Yeah, well, the umpires also say they don't check the scores.
And the umpires.
But he will get... I think Paddy Cripps will get a lot of ones and sort of those sort of things where he would have got a 3 if they had won those games. But I also think Gorney might be in that position too, because he's a ruckman. I think he might get a lot of ones, and that will hinder that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So we've come to the end, Ben.
Have we?
We're getting closer.
All right.
Richmond, Collingwood. Who wins? How much?
Richmond by 6 goals.
Okay, well, I was going to say Richmond by 37 points, so we're pretty much bang on there, aren't we?
Oh, so you get 37 and above.
Yeah.
You always do this to me, so I only get under 36.
Yeah, well, you should do your tips smarter.
But
Well, then
we're both
I'll
going for
say...
Richmond.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I'll say West Coast by 23.
23. There's no way that West Coast get up by more than 23. But I'm going
I
to
didn't say more than 23. I said 23.
I'm going for the D's. I'm on the wagon. Have been since the start of September. I believe it's going to be very hard to stop momentum. I think even with Bailey Fish being dropped, I reckon the D's by 18 points. 3
Wow,
goals.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's going to be hot over there too. A few mates flying over.
I already googled it. 23 degrees. It's not going to be steaming hot.
It's hotter than playing on a Friday night at the MCG.
But the humidity over in
Or a
Perth's
Saturday
not
night.
as bad. So it's going to be
closer to the sun.
It's going to be a beautiful day, Jake.
Ben, preliminary final show in the books. Next week we'll be previewing the grand final. We might have a guest, we might not, but we are going to...
We might have you as a guest.
Me?
No, you.
Oh, him.
You.
We are going to finish with one of the greats of all time.
Mansfield and Villa Brady on 1278 3AW. Down to Newport. Toby's at Newport. Hello, Toby.
Hi, Bruce. Hi, Phil.
Yes, Toby.
How are you?
Good. Oh, good, thanks.
It's very late. Mum lets me stay up and listen to you guys some nights.
Good.
I love listening. It's a bet. Me and my brother love to listen.
Good boy.
I have a joke.
Yes.
What's the funniest smelling thing in the whole wide world?
The funniest smelling thing in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
Perhaps your nose.
Oh, no.
What was it?
An anchovy's cunt.
Oh, what a pity, Toby. You've ruined your track record there. Never call us again, please. Never in your life even think about it.
And think, all right, we've dumped you, Toby, but there are people like Carmen and Queenie online and could hear that in their ear and are offended.
And we heard it, and Simon heard it.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they're not there. So you've ruined it for all of us.
Toby, if you're ever thinking of tuning in again, just
Don't.
get a life. And Toby, grow up.
You're old enough now to stop that filth.
I can tell you how bad it was. Even Keith McGowan was offended by it. That's
Keith McGowan was offended.
You might have to bleep that out, Ben, for the show, but I thought that was going to be bleeped out. But Toby, you're more than welcome on our program if you want, mate.
Great.
And he obviously wasn't a kid. Like, he was just a guy putting on a voice.
That was just brilliant. They got more and more worked up. Don't you dare.
bastard.
Grow up, Toby.
Anyway, Toby, we hope you're watching our show.
Toby, you've won the inaugural award of this Esky if you want it.
Come and pick it up.
Call us in.
Enjoy the preliminary final action, Magoo's community. Thanks for joining in. We'll be back to preview the grand final next
We're going
week.
to be locked and loaded on 5 apiece this final series.
Unlikely. I will be celebrating a finals tipping victory. Thanks for watching, guys. Tuning in, however you did. Like, share, subscribe on all the socials, and we'll see you next week.
Chuck a review as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
on,
if you are listening,
iTunes.
if you are listening audio only, you can leave a review on YouTube
Doesn't have to be
too.
a good
But
review, just a review.
yeah, I mean,
Go
5
for it.
stars we'll appreciate. But if you could take the time to leave a review, that would be much appreciated by Ben and I. And
Probably should have asked them that weeks ago.
weeks ago, but that's okay. That's just a part of it. That's all a part of learning. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.